1.
It's funny how inspiration works. There can just be one simple idea which can lead to a whole story, and in the case of this film, that simple idea was a green piece of fabric. I found this piece of green fabric in a scrap pile of fabric at college, but the piece was only about this big, so there was only so much I could do with it. So what I did is I did some tests using the fabric over my face to make my head disappear. And this just got me thinking that I really wanted to make a film that was using this piece of green fabric which wasn't made for green screen. The other side had like these sequins on it. It was not made for this. But after doing a couple tests just in my room, I thought, it had kind of potential. And so I just thought, how can I develop this? Someone has no head. How do they have no head? It's just invisibility. And it just went from there.
Quite fun. I have to admit, I feel like I had way more fun with it than I thought I was. I was a bit worried that it was gonna be quite hard to act in it, but I think I was a bit worried about the muffling, but I feel like it went well. There was some experiments going on with this liquid stuff, and I don't know what I think was some firearms.
In the green screen, his stubble was coming through, and imagine this room. I'm in the corner, and JJ was on the chair. And he looks in my direction when you're filming Che, because otherwise he's going to make Che laugh. And he's looking at me and he's going.
I think it was interesting, but it was quite difficult to keep a straight face at points, especially since I can still see JJ's sculpture behind it. I couldn't focus.
You just kept on doing facial expressions at me. It was very challenging for me because obviously when you've got chemistry with the actors you've been with before, you're very easily distracted by their quirky behaviour or their comical behaviour. Like the second they laugh at you, or you kept on doing this smouldering rock glance. We went,
have you got anything to say about it?
All I can see is your eyebrows and nose and mouth.
And it's coming through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no! Should have shamed.
Anyway, alright, so for developing this story more, I had this whole idea about this corporation getting involved, and it's all about them, basically. I kind of used this corporation from one of my short films that I made, this kind of short comedy sketch called The Atom Blade, which was about this, ridiculous invention by this, equally ridiculous scientist called Dr. Tuffin. Obviously, in this case, I wouldn't touch the thing on him. But in a real situation, Video. And the whole kind of experiment was for this company called Flask Laboratories. So I thought, why not use that? Because I had the logo already designed, and I had basically the character design of these kind of scientists. And the fun with this is I even got to play Dr. Tuffin again. So when developing this kind of character of Leo Quinn, this guy with no head, the kind of, most notable thing about him is he wears a paper bag for most of the film. And he kind of uses it as a kind of disguise to show that he's got some mass of a head there. But I only chose to use that because I couldn't, with my limited knowledge of doing green screen and VFX, I couldn't do moving shots with the green screen because I couldn't track it with the clean plate on the back. So all the shots with the invisible head are still on a tripod. So then I came up with the idea of the paper bag, and it's just funny how a character can be developed in terms of its design through the limitations that I actually have.
Because your original one, it had a different smile on it. When I was doing the thing, I couldn't be bothered to draw it. So I just went, wah, 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 wah. And you're like, oh, actually, that looks better, I'm just going to use that.
So in terms of casting this film, I always had JJ Francis in mind, who was in my last short film, Tabletop Shots. And the other person who starred in Tabletop Shots was Kaylin Earl, who I really wanted for this film as well, because they're a brilliant actor. So I asked them if they wanted to do the film, and they got right on board straight away. So I had JJ, Kay, and then I got them to contact their acting friends from college, So then I managed to get Shay Goff on board to play Mr. Flask. And then I had Rudy and Amelie, who were my friends from college on my production design course.
When I first read the script, I looked at the line, wow, you've managed to bag a head that doesn't even exist. I didn't really know what to think of it. Straight away though, I wanted to just know the depth of the script and just to feel my character straight away.
I was very intrigued. I always like roles like this where it's a bit out of the box and it's a bit different than other things, and I haven't done anything like this before, so it was definitely fun.
But literally the first line, the wow, I knew the interpretation straight away.
I was confused at first, I can't lie, but I'm always confused when I first read any script. I did think it was quite cool. I have like a love for sci-fi.
Thought it was fun. I was excited to work with other people, and especially the actors, because it's such a good group of actors. They're all really fun. And I don't do really acting work, but I was, might as well. It was a good experience.
And Rudy was actually up for doing the costumes for the film, because that's what they like to do at college as well. So it was really interesting with this one, because I wasn't doing all the jobs. I was doing some of the costume, but a lot of the costume stuff I just let Rudy go ahead and do, such as the lab coats.
Yeah, I did the lab coats, which was... obviously, because I was sourcing stuff from charity shops, and then unpicking them and sewing an extra bit on to just make it longer. So it's not an exact, like a lab coat, like the lapel's different, and if you look close enough, you'll see the seams, obviously. But it's just, I enjoy working from second-hand stuff and what I have, and not buying new stuff is always a positive.
So then in pre-production, the whole process was a lot more rushed than I probably would have wanted it to be. This was because I wanted to shoot this film all at my college, like the whole thing. And overall, just in summer, it's a great place for me to be able to film. It's very quiet because, college isn't actually going on. So we were very lucky to spend about 5 days there shooting. And we were kind of in the second half of summer at this point. So I knew that we needed to shoot this film quickly, because soon they were going to start to get in people to do like kind of open day things and induction days, and I did not want to get in the way of that. And so with this kind of deadline in mind, it was quite important that I just went full steam ahead on the pre-production. So I went on to storyboarding, so I literally just storyboarded, I think, only the chase scene. For the fight scene, however, instead of doing a storyboard, I did a complete Lego animation of the whole fight scene, and this just helped kind of visualize what I wanted to do on the day, and also I could send it to the actors and let them know, this is what we're planning on doing. Your character's this Lego guy, and your character's this Lego guy.
You did like this Lego animation for it, and that really helped like picture what it was, and I think that's a really cool way that people can start maybe doing to like really show us the action. And I feel like it was really well directed.
Doing these storyboards, I'm also thinking about the costume that Rudy is working on. I'm thinking of other costume bits that I need to get from charity shops. I'm also thinking about doing all the props that I need to do for the film to just get it ready for that 5-day shoot. So with pretty much all the pre-production process done, I met the actors at college and we just went through, what I was planning to do for the film, and we did a table read as well. And what we also did that day is we made the most of the time we had at college, and we rehearsed the fight scene in Complete. And before this, of course, I only had the Lego animation, but I had no idea how I was going to position the shots and, the camera movement and everything like that. So this was really good space to just relax and work it all out so we're ready for the final day shoot. So we went through the whole fight scene. So what I could do later on is I could edit the fight scene in Complete, copy those frames into a storyboard, write extra notes on what we can do better. Even after the fight scene, me and JJ did some green screen tests that day, and that was really good to see, to reassure ourselves that what we were shooting would look okay. So on the first day we did the dialogue scene between the scientist and Leo Quinn. I was pretty happy with how this day went. We did all the green screen stuff for that scene. We were just shooting pretty fast. I did ask for quite a few takes on some of the shots, but just because I thought we could get it so good.
It was a lot of walking back and forth up the corridor. Oh guys, can we get one more take? I'm just not sure if it was good enough.
Neat. I think one more.
And I go, sure, James, I'll go back behind the corner and I'll wait to suspiciously walk out for the 4th time.
That was perfect, guys. Let's do it again. This was a little frustration for some of the actors, but, you know, it looks good in the end, I think. And in terms of shooting the action, it was a lot of fun, because I'm a big fan of action films, and I haven't really got a chance to do kind of like a multiple person fight scene or like a multiple person chase scene.
I've never done action scenes before, so that's another thing that drew me towards it.
Because it's just making it look real and it being choreographed as well, not just being on the spot behaviour. All of it was choreographed. We spent quite a while on it. We were sweating buckets by the end of it.
The bag it got really hot under there, I have to admit, including all the running. So I have to admit, I preferred the green screen mask to the bag sometimes because it was a bit easier to breathe, but it was still fun. I really enjoyed it.
It was just really hot because it was the middle of summer. And that was probably the worst kind of piece of cardboard, and just having to use JJ was so red and sweaty after this action scene.
I think the running scene was hard because of like how we had to stay in time with the camera.
It was a good way to put a lot of physicality in the role.
So I didn't mind smashing my head against the table. I didn't mind. I really wanted to. I remember we did like 3 extra takes because you didn't want me to hurt myself when hitting my head against the wall.
And then there was 2 scenes shot in the conference room. That was the interrogation scene between Mr. Flask and Leo Quinn, and then the final fight scene of the film. And it was actually kind of a challenge to shoot in that little room, because the door was very soundproof, so there wasn't much air coming in. So if you imagine about 5 people in there at once, it got really hot, really fast, and like it did not smell great. There was one time where JJ just ate lunch and they had like barbecue beef crisps.
And the whole room stank. And I had to keep going out for fresh air breaks.
It was just really, really hot in there. And we did do a lot of shooting in there. So basically when I didn't need people, they could go outside and just, you know, chill in the library and just breathe some more fresh air. But yeah, so I'm really appreciative of all the actors for, you know, sticking through that experience in that room, because it was not very pleasant.
I knew when we recorded the radio scene, that exact bit, I was just like, no, it's completely just excelled expectations, and it was brilliant.
But it's part of this film which I have enjoyed so much is the people that I've made it with. I mean, these people are so nice. They're dedicated to just my script, which is insane to me. It was just really nice, and they were having fun, and man, I was having the funnest I've ever had on a short film.
I was very grateful to be part of this, and it did develop me as an actor.
Just behind the scenes, coming out here, getting called in, I think that was the best part, was when we all had all of us in the same room.
Yeah, just getting to hang out with everyone, and those guys are all really nice.
All the fight scenes, there's just so much that was put into it that I haven't done before.
And when we stopped recording, I didn't want to stop recording.
So we managed to get the film done in the 5 days that I had planned. I was a little worried near the middle. I was like, do we need an extra day? But one of the days, I think it was when we did the fight scene, we were just really productive, and we just got through it straight away, and we could even do some shots afterwards. Then it was time for me to edit the film, and this was quite a big process. I mean, I really, really enjoyed shooting the action of the film. It's just really fun to make sure the film flows and paces well, and nothing feels too jarring. And I love, you know, cutting between, you know, one shot of someone punching or one shot of someone running, and then cutting to another angle and making sure that it all looks like one thing. And then with editing the green screen, I did that all after I cut the film together, because once I had the film cut together, I was like, now let's go on to do the green screen. And there were quite a few times where I kind of forgot to get the clean plate. Sometimes I'd literally have to like take an image and try and, you know, paint out certain areas to try and get it to look like the background. And then probably the most major factor of my editing, which I feel like changed the film completely and the feel and the style of it, was the colour grading. And I only did a tiny bit of colour grading before on tabletop shots, and that was only making it look a tiny bit more blue. But there was 2 defining factors that I wanted with the film. One is that I do consider it a western, because it's about an outlaw, you know, in this kind of area which could be considered a kind of small town. It's in a sunny place, and you know, just in my head I feel like it is a western in some ways. So I colour graded all the shots outside in this kind of style, just using kind of browns, reds, and warmer colours. And then for the interior shots, I tried to colour grade it a lot like a sci-fi. So in the library it's a bit green, and then for the rest of the interior shots it's a lot more blue and a lot more kind of clean feeling than the outside shots. And I'm really happy with this result, and I feel like it did improve the film greatly. And another major factor which improved the film was the score, and I was so lucky to get my brother to, you know, completely score the film from scratch. And he didn't actually look at any of the footage when he was composing. What I did is I went through the film and I kind of wrote on a sheet of paper, right, from this time to this time I want it to be intense, then from this time to this time I want it to change in this way, and this kind of created a kind of blueprint for him to work from. So he didn't really need the footage to look at. He just went through the reference on my sheets, and then that synced up pretty much perfectly with some of the beats in the film. And again, this kind of whole feel that I kind of wanted of this kind of synthy score really helped fit the, you know, gritty kind of feel of the film. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I think that is probably the most defining factor of what improved this film from my edit. So now the film's done, I'm not fed up with it. You know, with Beyond Darkness, that is a film I was incredibly fed up once I finished it. I mean, I did that all alone pretty much, apart from the help from, you know, someone doing the score and occasional kind of camera bits. But this film was a real kind of collaborative process, you know, really working on costume, getting the actors involved, getting my brother involved, you know, using the college even. That was great. And this has been, as I said, the most fun I've ever had shooting a film. It was just, every day was just, you know, we were pretty much hanging out but also shooting a film. And again, I just got to say thank you to the actors. Like, thank you for just accepting my film and, you know, wanting to be in it, wanting to play characters that I created. That seems crazy to me. I mean, this is why I make films, is because I want to kind of create these kind of characters in these worlds.
I have to admit, having a character like Leo Quinn, where it's like there's something iconic about him, like he's got the bag for him, the name tag, it's quite an iconic outfit. It's quite cool to be pinned to something like that, because say in the future, if there's any more of it, people will be like, oh, that's that. I've had actual people in the college come up to me and be like, oh, you're the guy with the bag on his head. I was like, oh my god, I'm the guy with the bag on his head. And it's really cool to have a character like that, and it's been a really fun experience.
And to have a film like this, where, you know, afterwards I've collaborated with Adam Deering making a comic.
Seeing the comics as well, I was just like, this is actually becoming like a real thing. Like the statues as well on my windowsill. Like, this is an actual real thing. It's not just like a film with no depth. There's an actual character, there's an actual premise, and from an outside perspective of just randomly stumbling onto the video or randomly seeing the comics, you care about the theme, and there's an actual story behind it.
It's just brilliant, and I really do appreciate it, and I really do love it. And for everyone who has seen the film, thank you very much. It's been the most popular film on my YouTube channel at this point. So yeah, so thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching the film. Anyone who support me, anyone who's like sent me messages saying, you know, well done, thank you. That's what I've got to say. And yeah, basically, see ya.